Are you a business owner, an entrepreneur, an entertainer, or a professional that have a story to tell, or a product or service that you want to put out there for the world to see? Let's set up an exclusive interview between you and I. All I want you to do is to shoot me an email on info@okanex.com. Let's project your brand, and you'll be glad you did. Thank you. Okay, welcome to Okanex Hangout. With us today is one of the New Jersey finest attorneys in the person of Mr. John C Uyamadu. Welcome to Okanex Hangout, John.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, Mr. John, would you mind introducing yourself to our audience?
Okay, so my name is John, middle initial C, which stands for Chukwunwe Uyamadu. I'm a lawyer practicing in New Jersey. I'm licensed in New Jersey, state of New York, and state of Connecticut. And also, I'm licensed to practice in the federal court and immigration court. So we're here in New Jersey. My office is in Morris County, Cedar North, Morris County, New Jersey. I also live in Morris County. I'm from Obosi in Anambra State, Nigeria, originally. Obosi, it's in Idemili North local government, which is just next to Onitsha.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, thank you for that intro. Can you take us from your journey, how it all started, your legal journey?
All right, so I came to the U.S. in September 16, 2000. And when I was in Nigeria, I always wanted to be a lawyer. But, I couldn't get into study law in Nigeria, so I studied psychology. I did psychology in University of NewJersey University. Then did master's in clinical psychology at the University of Lagos. So when eventually I came to the U.S., I said, okay, time to go to really what I wanted to do, which was law. So I took the exams, got into school in Virginia, 3-year program. I came out with a law degree, and I realized I don't know the legal system here in the U.S. I know the classroom, but so I said, let me go somewhere and work for a judge for a year so I can get that in the ones. I applied for, the different states, and a judge in New Jersey hired me. I was in Virginia. I applied in Virginia, Maryland, Georgia, Texas, New York, Virginia. So that's what brought me to New Jersey in 2004. So I came, worked for a judge for a year. While I was doing it, I made a lot of contacts, and I got a job. So I said, okay. I didn't want to stay in New Jersey. I lived in Georgia before law school, right? And then my older brother, has a law practice in Texas. So the plan was I would go and join him. But when I did the clerkship, got a job, I started enjoying, practicing in New Jersey, and I stayed in New Jersey.
Okay.
Right.
From your journey, what were the challenges you encountered? Because from the little you've been able to say, from psychology to law, how has the journey been? The navigation?
Right. So now in the U.S., to go to law school, you need a first degree. You need an undergraduate degree. So the psychology now helped because I used it as my first degree. The transition was a little difficult because not knowing the legal system. And then just, I arrived, I had accent. When I tried to get into school, they wouldn't take me to go in and study law because if they said I just came. They required me to go and take a test of English as a foreign student. Okay. And I said no. 2 schools that I applied, I said I have to take the test. I said no. One said I'll take the test and in addition, take some undergraduate classes to be sure I can do the law. I said no. So the school that eventually took me, I gave them a challenge. I said, listen, let me do 1 year. If I don't do well, then I'll go do everything you said. So they allowed me to do 1 year. I did the 1 year and I was like top of the class. So they're like,
that's right.
Right. So
I love that challenge.
Yeah. And they realized that I speak better English than they do.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah. And eventually, at that time they said, look, they need me to be like an ambassador for the school. So I started going out to talk to students, talk to college students, high school students about studying law and coming to that school. And that's like an all-white school. We were just a few of us, about 6 black students in the school. So from there, I graduated. When I came to New Jersey, same thing. People will see my last name, my first and last name, and like, foreigner, you can't do it. So the judge that gave me that opportunity, it's a black judge. I interviewed with white judges and black judges. And I went to that one, I said, look, my name and my accent, to others, it's looking like a hindrance, but that it's something unique that I cannot change, because they was telling me, you've been around, why not change your accent? Why not change your name? Why not do this? Why not? I said, no, that's what makes me unique.
Exactly.
So I told the judge, I said, look, give me the opportunity to come and watch how this thing is done in the courtroom. And that's all I'm asking for. So he said, you know what? You got it. So when I was in the courtroom observing lawyers, talking with the judge, he said, look, do not change who you are. Do not change who you are. He said, you see that accent? Don't lose it. He said, everybody sounds the same. But when you speak, everybody pays attention.
Exactly.
He told me, he said, you want to be a litigator. You will be in front of jury, trying to convince them to root for your client. Your accent will keep their interest. Many times, jurors fall asleep, okay, because everybody sounds the same. And then they wake up and they give a verdict. Everybody's wondering, where did that come from? He said, your accent will keep them listening. And they will hear what you're saying. If you win, you won because they actually listen. He said, don't lose it. And that has stuck with me. And I tell people, look, I know people that are making an effort to change their accent, people that when they go to do their naturalization, we want to change both the first and the last name so that it blends with the common names here. And I tell people, I say, no, you don't lose who you are.
Exactly.
Try to excel in what you do. And everybody will learn to say your name. Okay. And everybody will learn to understand your accent. So that thing that kind of, at the beginning, seemed like an obstacle, I've changed it where it's now like my strength. Okay? Where, people will make reference and say, hey, go to that lawyer with accent. There is none in this vicinity. I'm here because I've made the name. And people come, regardless of the background and, the accent and all that. So those things that were, that kind of were hindrances and obstacles, I've been able to turn into positive. And, I encourage people to, whatever you do, it doesn't matter, be the best at it. Another thing, that when I came to New Jersey, my first job was a law firm in Morris County. Okay, Morristown, which is how I ended up in Morris County. At the time, everybody was telling me, hey, what are you doing with white people? You need to come to Essex County, come to Union County, where your people are. So I said, look, I want to learn. I just came here, went into school. Yeah, thank you. So another obstacle I encountered was when I was trying to get into school, I couldn't qualify for any scholarship or grant. Reason being, I was going to school in Virginia. They said, the scholarship, I have to either be a resident or, some other things that I didn't qualify for. But kind of looking between the lines, I knew it wasn't because I'm not a resident, because there were people from other states that they gave money, but they didn't give me. So I said, look, it must be because, everybody think, an immigrant, I don't have people who can give the money, I don't have somebody that went to the school and stuff like that. So what I did was I said, fine. I took a loan, I paid the full tuition, and I studied really hard. By the end of my first year, I was one of the top students. So I told them, I need a scholarship now or I'm out. So they gave me a scholarship. So working that hard gave me the bargaining power that I didn't. All right, so a lot of those, things that were kind of hindrances or obstacle presented as obstacle, I was able to find a way to turn them to positive. And then now that, I'm here, I have my own practice. A lot of my clients now are, immigrants, Nigerians, Ghanaians, people from other African countries that are mostly in Essex County and Union County. I'm able to provide them that quality service, regardless of where I am. A lot of, I'm involved in the Bar Association, which is something I encourage Nigerians and Africans that are lawyers to do. Not many lawyers get involved in Bar Association. It gives you that name recognition, and you develop rapport with attorneys, people in the profession, judges, where when you come to court and go into a judge's chamber, so you go to a courtroom, the judge knows you. So they're not thinking, did this litigant or client hire a competent attorney, And, right now I'm active with Morris County Bar. I'm the secretary. By January, I'll become the treasurer. In another 5 years, I'll become the president. And I'm the first and only Nigerian, African member of the Morris County Bar Association.
You are killing me tonight, man. Okay. When life gives you lemon, you make lemonade out of it.
Exactly. And when I will become the president in about 5 years, I will be the first. But what I have done is I've been able to get people in this community to know that Nigerians are capable. Because a lot of times, all they hear from the news is negative.
Exactly.
So, like, the first job that I had after I did my judicial clerkship, I was the first black attorney to work in the firm. And the firm has been around for years.
Wow.
Right. And it got to a point where the managing counsel, the person running the firm, called me and said, "You have impressed me. Go and find me people like you, and I'll hire them."
This night is loaded.
So, but I couldn't get my folks to come. I spoke to some lawyers, Nigerian lawyers, and they're like, "Not in Morris County." I said, "You have to come. If not for anything, come and learn the job. Come and learn how to be a trial lawyer. Come and learn how to, because most of us, we do just kind of niche practice, like criminal defense, but low-level criminal defense, where you're a court-appointed public defender,
okay.
Right, do, a little bit of everything. But when it comes to heavy lifting, going to represent a corporation, okay, on a multi-million-dollar lawsuit, where they will trust you to go there, they're not going to hire you. First of all, your last name doesn't sound like something, right? Mm. But if you work in an area where they're comfortable and they see you perform, they will come to you. Then you can go wherever you want, and they will find you. But people won't come. I ended up bringing some black attorneys to the firm, but none of them are Nigerian, none of them are African, because I couldn't get anybody to come. Right. Just like now, I'm being told, "Hey, can you go get us people like you to come and join the bar, to come and be where they can be seen?" About 4 years ago, I was appointed by the NewJersey Supreme Court as a fee arbitrator. So when lawyers and their clients are fighting over money,
okay,
I'm somebody that sits as a judge in a panel to hear the case and decide it, so that people are not going to court to, litigate issue of involving money between lawyer and client. So New Jersey Supreme Court knows I'm here in New Jersey practicing law, okay? And I'm also certified by New Jersey Supreme Court as a civil trial lawyer. It's a rigorous requirement to get there. It's like they're giving the seal of approval saying, this guy is competent in this area of law. So when you hire somebody that is certified, you don't need to start asking questions. Does this person, just like in Nigeria, if you hire a senior advocate, the person is competent to attend that. So I'm encouraging people, in any profession, there's always what you can do to kind of stand out. You work hard, you attain that position wherever your name is mentioned, or where difficult things are mentioned, people will say, go look for this person. And wherever you are, People will find you.
Achieving these tasks, for me, they appear Herculean. So, how was it? What was running through your mind while you were encountering all these challenges, the asset, the stigmatization, and all that? What kept you moving? Because it's enough to demoralize you. It's enough to shut you down.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, part of the motivation was, I'm self-motivated.
Okay.
Yeah, let's start from there. So, and then I kind of told myself, look, whenever somebody says no, I need to work hard enough to turn that no to yes. Okay. Before, when I came to the US, because I already have a master's in psychology, I wanted to do a PhD in psychology, then go to law school, so that I kind of get to the top of the, that psychology, And then all the schools I applied to said, because I didn't get my master's here and I didn't get my undergraduate, they would not admit me to do a PhD program. That I have to, first of all, go and start from the undergrad. Yes. And I did, I took the exam GRE and I did well. University of Georgia, for instance, I lived in Georgia at the time. I wanted to go to University of Georgia. They said I cannot cope. So I said, you know what? Let's go for law. Same thing. They keep saying, I have to take, this test and that test. So those things motivated me to always, turn every no to yes. Okay? And eventually, it's been working. When I wanted to work for a judge, I went to my career counselor then in law school, and she said, it's going to be difficult. That judges want people that look like them, talk like them, sound like them. Do I know any Nigerian judge that I can go work for? I said, if I want to work for a Nigerian judge, I'll go back to Nigeria. So she said, okay. So I applied, different places. I didn't get it. Applied to almost all the judges in Virginia where I was. I didn't get it. But I kept looking. I said, look, I kept applying. Never been to New Jersey, never been to this part of the U.S. Yeah, but I just kept applying. If I go to a state, I apply to all the judges. I get no's. I move to the next state. So I was in Virginia, writing to judges in New Jersey. I'd never been to New Jersey. And then I got some calls, and I came. And when I got the job, I came, I stayed. There were obstacles. I overcame. Now, there was an interesting experience. When I first came to New Jersey, I lived in Newark, 5 Hill Street. I won't forget it. Apartment 5H, I believe.
The name is still fresh.
Right. So my first weekend in New Jersey, at night, I go out and I run just to exercise. So I'm running, and I noticed a police car following me. And I was the only one on the street in the middle of the night. So I ran the NJ Park. The officer turned on the light. I stopped. So he asked me for identification and all that. And he said, where you running to? I said, I'm exercising. He said, only somebody that is up to no good will be out at that time running.
Yeah.
So I said, I didn't understand that where I was like a high crime area. And people are not out that late running except you did something. Okay. So after he asked a lot of questions, he said, okay, that he will follow me to make sure that what I said I'm doing is what I'm doing. So he provided me an escort, essentially, and I finished my run, got to my apartment, and he came in to verify that I lived there. And then the next day he saw me. He then called me and said, look, who are you? So I told him where I work and everything. He said, okay, what you're doing is not safe. That, I could get hurt and all that. And he said, why don't you go register in a gym? So I told him that I will keep doing what I'm doing. That, who would want to hurt me? He said somebody might want to, rob you or something. So I said, look, I don't have any money with me, right? If anybody stopped me, I'll split myself and they're going to leave me. And I stayed in that Newark for another 1 year. Continued the same routine. Nothing ever happened to me. But ironically, every time I go to work and come back, I will hear about people getting shot, in broad daylight. But then I'm like, why is it that I still go out and run and nobody does anything? It wasn't until I moved out of Newark that all of a sudden there was a little fear when I want to go to Newark, right? I'm thinking, okay, somebody going to rob me. And I said to myself, you're having that fear before because you moved out. When you were here, you didn't have the. So I said, you know what? I will no longer do something out of fear, okay? There are many times where, fear will make you not, I said, I take steps to make sure I don't expose myself. But when I go out to run in the middle of the night, that's the time that even those people that are bad are sleeping. Because I usually run around midnight, 1 a.m., And since then, where I live now, when I moved to the place, it's like an all-white community. There were challenges. When I started, when my kids started school, they didn't want them in the school. They would do things to have me take them out, okay? So one time I went there and I met the principal and I said, listen, I don't know what the problem is, but I think it's because my kids are black. They're the only black students in the school. I said, we're here to stay. You guys need to get used to it. And I told him what I do. I said, I'm a lawyer. And I make a living suing people. And I'm going to sue everybody from...
I love your boldness.
Yeah, I said, I'm going to sue from the classroom teacher to the top, person if anybody bothers my kids again. He said it will not happen again. And it never happened again. And eventually my kids started doing well. Because now everybody started treating them like, where even my son was winning awards, my daughter was winning awards, best in math, best in reading. But it wasn't until I let them know that we are not going anywhere. We're here to stay, just get used to it. And they realize, okay, so there will be obstacles. The question is, do you let it be a hindrance? Or do you find a way to change it to positive? And I've always found a way to change it to positive. It was very tough when my kids were still very young because, there are after school, at the time it helped because I was working for a firm and, I worked really hard my first 2 years at the firm where, everybody knew I was competent. And I went to my boss and I said, hey, there are a need for me to be there for my kids, right? Take them to after school, sporting events and all that. That I would like a situation where they can give me flexible hours where I can go home early, get those things done, do homework, get my kids to bed, and I will work from home at night to make up for the time because we had to build so many hours and I will make up the time. And he allowed me. But he allowed me because I've already proven myself, okay, that, hard work, it's not and I even started working longer because at night I will work till like the next morning because I'm trying to make up for that accommodation they're giving me. So that way I was able to juggle my practice because, law practice takes a lot of time.
Exactly, yeah.
Right. To juggle, still being a parent and doing it. And as time goes on and as the kids were growing, it was getting easier. There was a time my wife worked night. So in the morning, I have to get the kids out to catch the bus. And then I go to school, I go to work, and then my wife comes. She takes care of things. Then I have to come back because she has to sleep and then go to work. We juggled it. We have 2 kids. And now they're grown. My daughter is in college now. And my son has 1 more year to finish high school. Yeah, so now it's a lot easier. They drive, they can take care of
themselves.
I still try to make time to be there for, different activities and during holidays, be with family. But, I work late night because many times during the day I'm in court, I'm in different places. Then I get to the office at night. And I still have to do paperwork. I have to prepare for the next day. So, I can't help working late. But I find a way to make up for it, and make sure that there's family time. When everybody's together, we go out, do things together as family, take vacation, at least every year we take a vacation.
Very, very vital.
Very, very.
But I want to take you back again because your story is so amazing. When all those challenges, were facing you, what was running through your mind? How did it make you feel emotionally? Because it didn't just end with you, it even extended to your kids. So at that point, what kept you going, for you to fight back?
Yeah, it's that, I always remind myself that I came from somewhere, okay? I wasn't born in the U.S. And my parents are not from the U.S. So it's not like a generational wealth out there for me to inherit. I came all the way from Nigeria to here, and I have to do everything to succeed. And I have to, be like an example for my kids to observe because, I did psychology, I did clinical psychology. I know that kids observe the adults around them, and they learn more from what they observe than what you're actually telling them to do. Okay? So that always is at the back of my mind whenever I encounter an obstacle. So I'm always saying to myself, how can you overcome the obstacle without letting it pull me down?
Yeah.
And, something with my kids, when they will come home and tell me how, kids are making fun of them, making fun of their hair because their hair is not silky and straight,
Yeah.
No.
Right.
I tell them that they are unique because nobody else has that type of hair in the school.
Yeah.
That they need to be proud of the hair. They need to be proud of the color of their skin. They need to be proud of who they are. Okay? And I remember in 2016, I took on Ozo title, from my town.
Yeah, you still tell us more about that. Okay.
All right. Just let me touch on that a little bit.
Good.
So I took on a title, and also I, did for my son.
Okay.
We became. So my other name is Nze
Akubude
Ugeju. Right.
Good one.
And my son is Nze Nabugo. Nabugo. Now, when we did it, we came back, and my son went to school with some pictures and showed friends and told them about it. His teacher heard about it, spoke to him. Eventually, he got to the principal. And the principal invited me and said, can I come and tell them more about this? They've never heard of anything like that. So they set up a day that I came to the school in the auditorium. The entire school, teachers, students, faculty, everybody was in the auditorium. And I dressed up with my son in the regalia, with the akupe and everything. Yeah. And we came, we did the greeting, and then I explained what it's all about. And they asked questions. And they took pictures and displayed on the hallways of the school.
Nice.
Yeah, because it's something different. Now, there was something that when I wanted to do it, a few people I told was like, who cares? You're in America. That's for stuff, for people in Nigeria. But then it became something unique where the school wanted to know more. Okay. And my son became they started calling him Prince. And so he said all of a sudden, everybody is calling him a prince and all that. And it made him want to know more about the culture. He was born in the U.S., but he wants to know more about the culture where I came from, more about this title. And he will always tell his friends about it. And they will always marvel at, something that is unique, something that is
we have a prince in our midst.
Exactly. And he enjoys going to Nigerian functions. He enjoys dressing up as Ananza with his
akupe.
And he enjoys telling people his titled name. So despite those things not being common where we are here in America, but we've brought that culture here. We're even Americans embracing it and wanting to know more.
Okay, nice. Another question is, how do you juggle it? I know you've talked about the work aspect, but striking that balance, still having time for culture, having time for work, having time for family. How do you make sure no department is lagging behind? How do you, equalize all departments, giving them their fair share?
Right. So, in all honesty, you cannot really give everything a fair share. Something will give, right? Yeah. So at some point, work takes more time than everything else. At some point, something else might take more time. But what I do is always remind myself. My wife also does a good job. Once in a while, she will remind me, hey, remember, it's not all about work.
That's right.
Remember, we're here. We need to see you more often. So what I've started doing as a way to kind of balance things out, I've gotten to a point in my career where, I have my own practice. I do my own schedule. I select the kind of cases I take. Now, I come to the office, except I have a court hearing or an appearance to do. I come to the office around 1 or 2 p.m. in the afternoon. So I'm at home in the morning. My wife works night. So when she comes home, I'm there. We can have conversation, talk about her work, talk about, general things. Now, like, for instance, now during holiday, I'm with my kids in the morning. So in the afternoon, I come to the office. I have staff that's in the office, running things. So I come, I stay from afternoon till night, and then I go home. I'm able that way, rather than come in the morning, go home when everybody's going to bed. And then by the time I wake up and leave, they're barely waking up. Yes. So I'm there when they're awake. So that way I'm able to spend quality time at home and still be able to come to work. And then the cultural things, mostly on the weekends. Okay. And I go home at least once a year, travel to Nigeria, get to interact, do things, and then as much as possible take my family to visit.
So, like you said, some other immigrants, maybe some lawyers back home that came here thinking to just easy for them to transition. But on getting here, is a different ball game. So what advice do you have for such people that still want to, fulfill that?
Right. There's a unique difficulty people that studied law in Nigeria that came here run into. Only, I think only state of New York and California allows somebody that studied law outside the U.S. to come to the U.S. and take the bar and get a license to practice in those states. The rest of the state, like New Jersey, you have to go to school here. You have to go to law school here in the U.S., and it has to be a school that is accredited by the American Bar Association. So what I do, I've run into a few Nigerians. Like there was a young man, I ran into him, he was a probation officer. So he's telling me that he went to, he studied law in Nigeria. He went to University of Nigeria, Enugu campus. But he came here, he lived in New Jersey, he couldn't take the bar. So I told him, go to New York and take the bar. He said he lives in New Jersey. I said, it doesn't matter. Go take the bar if you're licensed in one state, you can go to federal court in the 50 states. It's only when you want to go to state court that you have to go in the state where you're licensed. And you can actually go to any state. You just have to find a lawyer licensed in that state to put his name that he will supervise you. And you can go to the state and do the case. So I say, go get a license in New York. Start doing immigration. Federal practice that doesn't have limitation in the 50 states. And if you have a case in state court in New Jersey, I can supervise you.
Wow.
And he did it. He's now a lawyer. He has a license in New York. And now he has an office in New York, doing predominantly immigration. And he's had cases in New Jersey, but what he does, he will give it to me and say, hey, that he's so busy with the federal practice that he doesn't even have time to go to state court. But there he went from being a probation officer to being a practicing lawyer. And it was just somebody telling him, this is what you need to do.
That's part of what this platform is all about. That support system, that singular advice changed his whole
changed everything.
Trajectory.
Right. And I tell people there, I've encountered some attorneys from Nigeria that came here, because they're in New Jersey and they can't take the bar in New Jersey, they thought that's it. I encourage them, hey, New Jersey and New York is just,
stone
throw. Go there, get a license, come back to New Jersey, set up immigration. There are enough people that need immigration lawyers. Yeah. Set up, start from there, and then work your way where if there's need to go to state court, find somebody that has a license like me. If you want to do the case, I'll supervise you. If you want me to do it, I'll do it. And the thing now, because I'm a certified civil trial lawyer, I'm allowed to take a case from a lawyer, do the case, and give the lawyer referral fee. Because the law is you can only share fees with another lawyer that worked on the case. But if you're certified by the Supreme Court, that means you have the competence to work on the case by yourself and still give referral fee to the person that sent you the case. Okay. So I've had some lawyers that I told, hey, go get a license in New Jersey, go to California. But they're here. Okay. So when they get a case, they give it to me. I'll do the case, I'll get the fee, and I'll pay the person referral fee without them having to work on the file and without us violating any law and, rule of professional conduct.
Okay, great one. So another question I have, the shadowing aspect that you made mention, maybe for young African lawyers, Nigeria, or any black lawyer, coming from the other side, that just needed that mentorship or guidance, will you be open to accept such offers?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
And, I encourage, people, when you come, find a lawyer, law firm near where you are. There was a time we used to have an organization. We still have it, but it's kind of dormant now. Nigerian Lawyers Association, New Jersey, which are, lawyers that were originally from Nigeria, but we're all here now. Whether you study law in Nigeria or you study here, it doesn't matter, but you're Nigerian before. There is one in New York that is very active and with a lot of people. There was one in New Jersey. I encourage people. I say, look, start by offering to be like an intern, free. Don't even ask for money. Because most time when you start asking for money, the lawyer is thinking, what value are you bringing to my law firm? Okay. Say, hey, let me come and be an intern. When you go, learn what's going on and start bringing value. The person will start paying you because all of a sudden you become indispensable.
Yes.
And then you learn the practical aspect of what lawyers do. Yeah, you don't have a license yet. But then if you get to the point where you go and get a license wherever, the person can hire you as an associate, or you can even become a partner. If you have the ability to bring work, you can become a partner. You can be bringing work, working the cases, go to federal court. If it's state court, the other lawyer goes to the state court. But you came in through offering your services for free. And then the person sees what you are capable of doing, and it turned into something you can make a living doing. Because a lot of times people come and want to just get a job making six figures.
It doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work like that. No. Another thing I encourage people to do, right? Those that are here, went to school here, don't always be looking for that six-figure job right off. You can start low. Find a public interest work. Find a law firm where you can go and learn the work. A few Nigerian lawyers have lost their license because of taking cases that they're not really familiar and they're learning on the job when they're the owner of the firm. And there are mistakes being made. And eventually it gets caught up and they lose their license. If you go and work for somebody and you learn under somebody else's tutelage, where you're making mistakes, but you're not paying the price for it. Because you're under somebody, and the person is, guiding you. And then you learn how not to, mess things up. And also, you learn how to run the business, because having your own law firm, you can be the best attorney, but you've never run a business.
Exactly.
So you come back from court and your electricity is cut off because you forgot to pay for it. And you might not have money to hire office manager and all that. If you work somewhere, pay attention, see how the business side of the practice is run and how the law practice side of it is run. So when you go out on your own, you can do both. If you cannot afford to, hire a lot of staff, you already know the most important things to keep doing and keep the doors open and, be successful.
Okay. Another one, let me take in this direction, like the immigration law now. Like people having issues, some will say they want to do it by themselves. Can you emphasize on the importance of needing a lawyer to sort things out instead of messing your cases up? Because a lot of folks have messed their stuff up.
Right. So, I can't even overemphasize it. There's need to, when you need to file for immigration benefits, okay?
Yes.
To use a lawyer and use a competent lawyer. Because, there are lawyers that will take anything that comes through the door so that they're making enough money to keep the lights open, right?
Yeah.
And there are people that really, there are attorneys that do immigration, but they're focused.
Okay.
Like, I do immigration. I do family-based immigration.
Okay.
If you come to me for employment-based immigration, I'll tell you I don't do it, but I will refer you to somebody that does it. It's not that I can't start doing it, but then I will be doing so many things at the same time. And So now, immigration, it's involved. Most times people think it's just to fill the form.
Yeah.
That's the most easy part, right? Fill the form. But then, after that, when they start requesting for further evidence, when they start asking questions about some inconsistencies, how you respond will determine whether that petition will be denied. And once it's denied, it starts getting difficult. Because now there's already a presumption against you, right? You shouldn't be given this benefit. And you're trying to get over that hump. It's easier if you're using a lawyer who already knows the pitfalls and can help you avoid those pitfalls. Yeah, many times, people say, I didn't use a lawyer because it's expensive. But sometimes I've run into people that go to the roadside. There are paralegals, people that call themselves paralegals, that help people fill form, but they don't follow you to the interview. And they don't prep you for the interview. Because I found out that many times anxiety is the reason people fail the interview.
Wow.
And many times the anxiety is because nobody prepped you and explained to you what to expect. So you go there with one expectation, and then you go there, you start seeing something else, you panic. And suddenly they ask you your name. You don't even remember your name.
You get tripped off.
Okay. And then after that, now the person interviewing you in the immigration office is like a psychologist.
Yeah.
They're listening to your answers and they're watching your body language. Your answers might be correct, but your body language is saying, you're fidgeting, you're not making eye contact, and they're saying you're lying. Now, there's another thing from where we came from.
Yeah.
Okay. Where we came from, which is in Nigeria.
Yeah.
The culture is, as a mark of respect, you don't make eye contact with an elder or somebody of authority.
Exactly.
You look down, and the person will see you as being respectful. In this society, in the U.S., if you don't make eye contact, you're lying. So many times, when you go to a lawyer, if you're Nigerian or from Africa, right? If you go to a lawyer from the same background, the person will prep you on those minute things that nobody teaches in law school. Okay? Now, if you're Nigerian and you go to a lawyer that doesn't even know about the culture of us looking down, they won't tell you. You go to an interview, they're asking you a question, you're looking down when you're answering, and your petition is denied. Meanwhile, you answered all the questions, and
you get more confused.
And the lawyer doesn't know why you were denied.
Sure.
It's because you were not making eye contact. And, when I take people to interview, I watch those body languages. I'll tell the person, I say, hey, make eye contact when you talk. Hey, speak clearly. Because it's better you correct it while you're still in front of the person that is making the assessment than later on when things have gone wrong. So those are things that having a lawyer can help you to get over that you're trying to do it yourself. Okay? And also, immigration has levels, right? If you go and you get denied, you can apply, you can appeal, or you can ask for reconsideration. Many times, the denial letter might have a few things there why they're denying it, but somebody being there with you that saw how everything happened, a lawyer, in filing the appeal can bring in things that are not on the paper that was used to deny it. Both your strength at the interview and things that should counterbalance those negatives.
What of observations that they made?
Right, based on the observation and the notes. And, now the person reviewing the appeal is not talking to you, but reviewing just what the lawyer submitted. And the person can see those things and say, you know what, I'll give you this. But if you were there by yourself, it's hard to bring those things out, okay? And it will not be as convincing because you don't even know what's important and what it's not.
Exactly.
Right.
So the importance of using a lawyer can never be overemphasized.
Exactly.
Okay. So over the years, you've been practicing for more than a decade now. So what are the intricacies? Because as the trend keeps changing, like now we are pushing for AI and all those. So how has the trend been moving?
Yes.
Like when you started, what is obtainable now?
So this past September, made it 20 years.
20 solid years.
20 years, right.
Wow.
My first year of practice, I worked for a judge for 1 year. So this past September made it 20 years that I started working for a judge. And then 1 year later, September 2005, I started practicing law.
Okay.
So by September next year, 2025, it will be 20 years of me actually practicing law. Now, over that period of time, a lot have changed. Okay. When I started practicing, there was nothing like e-filing. Internet was like, then everything, you have to type everything, everything was paper. Now, it has progressed to where, things are done electronically. And then the pandemic happened. And everything turned 360 degrees. Now, most times now, we don't even go to court. Everything is done virtually. And a lot of attorneys retired or left actual practice to become mediators and arbitrators because of all these changes, because they couldn't keep up with the change. Now I was able to kind of keep adapting because when I started, I knew I would eventually have my own practice. So one thing I started doing was learning how to type. Okay. From Nigeria, where we came from, typing is not emphasized. Everybody writes with pen. When I came to the U.S. and I got into school, I realized that everybody was typing in class. When a professor is teaching, people are typing. I'm the only one writing with pen and paper. And people are looking at me like, what is he doing? So I started learning how to type. Okay, right. Now, when I got my first job, I could either type or dictate. The law firm had a software where, you speak into like a small microphone or a headphone, and then it goes to somewhere, somebody types it and sends it back to you. Problem is, I tried to use it. The thing couldn't understand my accent. So I would dictate, and it takes me more time to correct what they typed because I'm like,
got you.
Yeah, then, eventually I went to my boss. I said, look, can I stop the dictating? He said, you can stop if you learn how to type. Okay. Yeah, because I said, give me somebody that I can speak to that will be typing. Because if they're looking at me, reading my lips, they can understand. He said, we cannot dedicate somebody to you. Go learn how to type. So I learned how to type. Now, I don't type with all the rules in all the fingers. I use just 3 fingers on each hand. But I can type as fast as somebody using 10 fingers, right? Yeah, so it helped me to keep adjusting. Now that things are done where you're on your laptop, everything on your phone, I'm able to do it. Now, when the court started moving towards doing things electronically, it was optional. They said you can file things with paper or you can file online. And the court offered free training to learn how to file things online. Lawyers, because we're busy, people were not going to take it. I went. I took time off and I'll go to the courthouse and learn, sit down, and they would teach me and all that. So I started doing it when everybody was still doing things manually. So when the pandemic happened, it became mandatory that you must file online. Majority of the attorneys in New Jersey didn't know what to do. And their staffs were staying at home because of the lockdown. People were calling around, hey, do you know how to file something online? I need to file something before midnight. Can you help me? I will pay you. So I was making little money teaching people what I learned for free because, I took time to go learn it.
How did that make you feel?
Oh, I felt like I was like king, So I always want to learn. Now there's AI, artificial intelligence, it's not, it hasn't really caught up in my profession, but it's getting there. So last week, there's a company that does provide AI for lawyers. So what I did was I met them at a conference, and I gave them my information. I said, hey, call me. So they called, we spoke. I said, can you allocate an hour or two? Let's do, show me what this AI is all about. I hear it, but I really don't know. So last week, we spent about an hour, and they showed me how it can make what I do now a lot easier.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, so after the new year, I plan to also talk with them and see how I can start incorporating that into what I do. Okay, for instance, they showed me a program that I can, right now I have electronic filing system, case management system, where my files, I have actual files in my file cabinet in the office, but everything in each file also is in the electronic file. Okay, so that wherever I am, I can log into my computer and still work on files.
Exactly.
Right.
Work as you go.
Exactly. Now, this AI company, they have a program where if I incorporate it, that my electronic file, I'll just incorporate it there. And when I need to do a letter to a client, instead of me going there and typing the letter, I can go in and type letter to a client. And the AI will do the letter. And I can just review it and correct it. So rather than me spending 10, 15 minutes to type a letter, the letter is generated in 1 minute.
Exactly.
And then I save the other 40.
So it's very, very productive if you know how to use it
Exactly.
to your advantage. Yeah.
Exactly. And you can do other things, like I told the guy, hey, recently I had a medical record that I had to review that was like 3,500 pages. And I paid somebody to review it and summarize it. Okay. I said, I do that a lot, because I do personal injury and medical malpractice, and it's a lot of money. He said the AI they have has a component that can summarize record like that, and it will do it in split second.
Wow.
So those are some things I'm looking at now to incorporate, and what it does is it reduces the overhead rather than paying human beings to spend all this time to do these things, right? That takes hours and days and weeks. AI can do it in split second at a fraction of the cost. And what you're doing is just going over what AI has done.
It's already done. Yeah.
Right, because of privacy laws and all those things. But the things that it can help to reduce the time. Once they tell me, look, they mentioned an attorney they said I can talk to that is using it now, that the guy told them he has let go of half of his staff because what they used to do, the AI is not doing in, reviewing record, doing all these things, summarizing things, like putting things in the calendar.
Yeah.
And somebody reminding you every day that, hey, remember tomorrow you have to go this. He said, now just put those things in your Outlook or whatever calendar system you're using that is linked to the AI. And the AI will be reminding you, right, sending you text messages, giving you reminders. And, you can program it the way beginning of the week. It gives you a calendar for the week. And every day it reminds you. So it costs you just a fraction to have it rather than paying one or two people, Now, the other flip side is all these people that are losing their source of livelihood because of the AI, right? But I tell people also, sometimes you need to retrain. If you're just a desk clerk, your job is get documents, stamp it, scan it. Maybe if you go and learn this AI, how to use them, how to program them, how to, you will still be useful, where you're still there, but you're now assisting to fit things to the system. So the AI, because as the lawyer, I still don't have the time to be scanning documents and I still need somebody to do it. So if you learn how to use the AI, I can still keep you. So that the things that takes you 1 week to do, you're doing it in 1 day, but you're still getting,
Exactly. Still being productive and adding value.
Right.
Yeah, because it's all about value adding,
Exactly.
because of the way
And we can do more
exactly in less time.
in less time. And we can still make the same amount of money,
More money.
even more money, right? With less manual labor, So, yeah, I've been able to, adopt some limitations, but,
Well, I know it as canny. Constant and never-ending improvement. Keep
Exactly.
improving yourself.
Exactly.
So I have one unique question I want to ask you. Over your practice, your 20 years, what one toughest decision you've made
The toughest decision I've made.
in the course of your legal journey?
Okay, I would say the toughest decision was when I decided to start my own practice. Okay, although I always had in mind that I would start my own practice, but I never had like a timeline when to start. So, what made me, I was involved in a car accident, a bad car accident that led to me having spine surgery. Have my spine fused.
Wow.
So I was out of work for a long time. And, the surgeon said, hey, you need like a year. I said, I can't take a year. Okay, I need to go make money because I got bills to pay. And my employer can't have me out that long. So I went back before the doctor said it was okay. So I don't lose the job. And then I re-injured the back. So I had a second surgery done at the same place where they did the first surgery. And the doctor said to me, listen, if I have to do this surgery again, you will end up in a wheelchair for the rest of your life. You need to allow your body to heal. You need 1 year. And I won't say it again. He said that job, if you die or if you end up in a wheelchair, somebody will take it the same day. So I said, okay, I'll take a year off. My employer said, you can't be out for a year. I said, the doctor said I have to be. So after about 6 months, my employer told me, hey, we have to give the job to somebody else. When you're ready, let us know. So after 1 year, I reached out. I said, hey, I'm ready. They said, nothing for you. I was like, whoa. After being out for 1 year, I need the money. I need the job. They said nothing. So I sent out an application. I went to 2 interviews. And in those 2 interviews, they said, John, you're excellent, but you already have 10 years experience. We cannot afford you. We're looking for somebody with 1 year, 2 years experience that will start from entry level and work you up. I said, pay me the entry level salary. I'll take it. I was desperate, Yeah, and in the 2 jobs, they told me the same thing. They said, if we give you the entry level salary, you will be here looking for another job. And once you find something that will pay you more, you're out. So I went home. I said, the bills are due. I don't have a job. I'm being told I'm overqualified. Maybe I'm overqualified to work for somebody. I need to work for me.
That's a wonderful nugget.
Yeah, and that was a tough decision. But this time, I've used up my savings. I've used up everything, right? Staying at home for 1 year. So I said, you know what? There has to be a way. So I incorporated my firm. I looked around to see lawyers that I can just, be paying somebody to be using their office, come stay there, do stuff. And then I found out there are executive offices where companies rent space, fix it up, and you can come and rent, one office in a big office suite. So I did that. I went and I rented. When I started, I didn't even have a place that is called mine. I rented a place, right, where I'm paying them like a little money monthly, and they allow me to use their phone. And I gave them greetings and everything, what I do, so that when somebody calls, they answer the phone as if it's my firm. Right. And they have hundreds of people there, They assign you, and so if that number comes, they know it's for you. So they answer like it's a law firm. Okay. And then they make an appointment, and they fix up a room, put my pictures of my diploma on the wall, and they tell me, and I come in, and I see the person. Wow. And then I sign up.
The smart one.
So I'm working from home, but when I need to see a client, I go and use the space. Yeah. And then I use the address. So when other lawyers send something, it comes there, they process it, scan it, and email it to me. So that was how I started. So it was costing me like less than $100 a month to have all that services, right? And then when money started coming,
That's impressive. Thinking out of the box.
thinking out of the box, right? So the major expense then was buying, insurance, liability insurance. But the rest, I was able to kind of figure out how to manage it, do business card, go out and hand over cards. So that was really, really, a major decision. And once things started picking up, eventually, I got the same place I was using. I got an office that now is mine. Whenever I come in, I can go in there. Then eventually, I left there and I got my own office space.
You know what? You don't look like what you've passed through. Honestly, you don't.
And you wouldn't even know, right?
Exactly.
Unless I tell you,
Yeah.
right? Because see, a lot of times cost. A lot of, and I've met people that are working in firms. They've gotten to the point where they want to go out on their own, but they're afraid. If you go out on your own, money might not be coming in, bills are still due, you have overhead. And I was talking with an attorney recently, a Nigerian lawyer. I said, look, you can do it. You're working somewhere. What you do is see if you can convert to part-time, if they will let you, so that you still have income coming. And then you start a practice on the side. But tell your boss that no conflict. Make sure you don't do anything that will conflict what you're doing for them, and you're not going to take their client. If you're doing family practice at the firm, go and start immigration on the side, so they're not afraid of it. Right. And then the money coming from here will be paying your bills while you're growing your own practice. When money starts coming, then you can focus on your practice, Or you can just quit the job. Because many times we get complacent because we are somewhere we kind of feel comfortable.
Comfortable zone.
Right, and we're afraid to take that step. If I didn't get to the point where I had no job, I probably wouldn't have opened my own practice.
Wow. It was a blessing in disguise.
It was a blessing in disguise, And if I didn't get to the point where I said, what, time to open my own practice, I probably would have maybe found somewhere that would give me a job and be paying me peanuts, Yeah, sometimes you have to also take that bold step. Yeah, things will be tough.
Take that bold step.
You have to, be confident, and things will eventually,
Okay, nice one. Honestly, I'm really, really overwhelmed with your story. And your story, I strongly believe, will be changing lives. So, based on what you know this platform for, serving as a support system, advice, encouragement. Now you've accepted whoever that needs your advice, that needs that support, you're willing to work with that person. So what advice do you have for anybody that tuned into this episode? Value for why they, pause to invest their time. What do you have for my audience?
Yeah, let's start with giving you kudos. Okay. For even thinking of something like this, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, because a lot of times, there are wealth of knowledge and experience in our community, meaning, the Nigerian community, immigrant community.
Yes.
But we don't have the avenue or the platform to impact the knowledge on others, share the experience with others. So what you're doing, hopefully will help to kind of bridge that gap.
Exactly.
And my advice to your audience and audience, to be whoever will come across, something like this is, never feel shy to reach out. Okay, many times people are shy. Maybe, if I call this person to ask a question, he might feel bothered.
No. Never feel shy to reach out.
Never feel shy to reach out.
That's a wonder word.
Yes. People call me. There's a young lawyer, I won't mention his name.
Okay.
Yeah, he's from Onitsha.
Okay.
Yeah, he came to New Jersey, got a license, didn't know what to do. I got a call from a lady in Illinois. The lady is from Onitsha, they're cousins. I'm married to an Inewi man whose mom is from Obosi. I'm from Obosi. So we knew each other. So she called me and said, hey, my cousin is a lawyer in New Jersey. He's kind of not sure what he wants to do. Can you talk to him? So I said, yeah, tell him to call me. So the young man called. And after I spoke to him for a little bit, so I told him, look, he didn't want to work for anybody. He wanted to work for himself, but he doesn't know how to work for himself. So I said, hey, why don't you start by going to the court in Newark, He said he was around Essex County Union. I said, go to Essex County and Union, the Superior Court. Go to the criminal division of the court. Ask them how you can put your name on the list for attorneys court can send people to. And tell them to send you low-level cases. Somebody throwing trash on the street. Somebody, low-level thing where all they need is just a lawyer that will come and put their name and the person will be let go. You know, start from there. The court will pay you. They need lawyers that do stuff like that. I said, you know, it's guaranteed money. And then go to, because he wanted to do criminal practice. Okay. I said, go to public defender's office and tell them, look, to hire you. If they say no, tell them to put your name on the list. When they can't take a case, there are lawyers that they send it out to. And he did that. And, you know, I had a case recently with him where we were on the opposite side.
Wow.
So when we were in court, he, you know, there was a time the judge said we should go out and try to work out the case with our client. And I told him, I said, hey, you know, I'm very impressed with you. He said, wait a minute. He told the clients to leave the room. Okay. So he came and hugged me. He said the whole time what was ringing in his head was that advice I gave him that day he called. And it's been almost 10 years after. He said that advice was that the day we were speaking, he was still lying down trying to figure out what to do. He hasn't even started doing anything. But it never occurred to him, those little things. And he said that's what he did. And eventually he found out that there were a lot of, there's need for attorneys that can be representing children in court. There are people called children in court where maybe a child that is being abused that needs to go from one family to another family. But they need a lawyer to represent them in court. There are not enough lawyers doing that. And because, you know, the child needs somebody to pay the lawyers. But the court has budget to pay lawyers to do it. But the court won't go around looking for the lawyer. You have to go tell the court you can do it, and they'll put your name. Yeah, he said when he started doing what I told him, he found out, he put his name in that. And he said he was telling the court, slow down, because they were bombarding him with work, and he said money was coming, like, you know. Wow. And he still does it till now. And, you know, he takes cases here and there, but that's primarily what he does. Because he said it's guaranteed money. Court will,
do lawyers know about this?
No. Unfortunately. And I tell him, I say, hey, you know, now that you know, you need to also tell others. Because there are a lot of attorneys, you know, that are doing what they're doing, but clients are not coming. But there's, you know, this, you can go to court and put your name in some of these niche areas where the court need lawyers. You know, the people to be represented are in the court custody. And court has money to pay lawyers to represent them. But court need the lawyers to come and say, hey, I can do it. And that's something, and many of the people that are involved are immigrants, where court will like somebody that knows about the system and the culture, because many times, you know, court might want to put somebody in a foster home or somewhere, but somewhere that kind of represents what they're used to, the culture, the tradition. So if they can find maybe a Nigerian child that needs to be placed in a home, if they can find a Nigerian lawyer to represent that child, that lawyer knows what to look for in a home that will be suitable for the child, where the child is not too far away from that culture, that heritage that they already, you know, so there's not too much culture shock. But if somebody that's from a different background comes, they're not even thinking about that. And you might put the child in what you think is the best family, but that culture conflict can make that child to not be doing well in school, to start being shy and timid, because, you know, they're in a place where, you know, things are different. So I tell them, hey, you have to tell others that whenever I run into Nigerian lawyers, you know, I ask the person, hey, what do you do? Are you happy? Are you, you know, here are other options, things you can do to not only, you know, expand your practice, but provide services to the community.
So on that note, what advice do you have for our audience? Because we are wrapping up gradually.
Yeah, so, you know, first of all, I would say never give up. Always seek out information. Information will come to you. Always seek out information. And then when you do find information, don't keep it to yourself. make sure you keep sharing it. It's always, somebody out there that needs to know what you know. We tend to sometimes want to guard information because we think, this is where we make what we used to make a living. We don't want to share it so other people don't. But I found out that the more you share, the better you get. And the more you share knowledge, the more it comes back to you. There's a young man that did an internship here, then later went out, started doing other things. He recently came back here to tell me what he's doing. And from having conversation with him, I learned some new things that I never even crossed my mind, And now we're talking about, he's born here in the U.S., but to Nigerian parents.
Okay.
Yeah, we're talking about how we can start doing what he's doing, expanding it to the Nigerian community, So if I didn't let him come do internship here, he wouldn't even come to me to share that knowledge. Exactly. You understand? So, to your audience, I would say look for information, look for knowledge. When you get it, share it. And, and I will encourage people to start doing community service. Do things that you're not being paid, but you're adding value to somebody's life.
Exactly, yeah.
Right. In my practice in a law profession, we are required to do so many hours of free legal service in a year. I mean, I do like times 100 of, the hours that a lot of times I represent, but people will come to me and tell me, hey, they have this problem, they don't have the money. I will say, fine, I'll represent you. And I found that many times when I represent a person and get a good result and don't take money, whenever they meet somebody they know they need a lawyer, they will say, you must go to this guy.
Exactly.
So I'll make the money, and they will now send me people that can pay. And suddenly that becomes a referral source,
exactly, yeah.
Right. So it's not always about money. Sometimes, you do good, and that good will come back to pay. I think people should embrace that.
For people that need your services, how could they get in contact with you?
Yeah, so I do civil practice, which involves representing people for personal injury cases, medical malpractice, contract issues. I also do immigration, and I represent people that are buying and selling houses. I also do something called consumer fraud law, okay. And it involves if a company or creditor is reporting wrong information in your credit report, which might hinder you from getting a loan, getting credit and all that. Your bank is taking money from you without explanation, stuff like that. I do that, and people can find me. I have a website.
Yeah,
and
share your website.
The website is jculawfirm.com.
jculawfirm.com, okay?
Right. J like John, C like Charlie, U like Union, okay. Lawfirm.com. And, people can reach me. My office phone is 855-722-5110. My office is at 2 Ridgedale Avenue in Cedar Knolls, New Jersey. Right. We're Morris County, but we cover the whole of New Jersey, right. And there's something very, I also do landlord-tenant cases. Okay. Yeah, because many times in our community especially, I've represented a lot of people that have rented a place, and when they move, the landlord doesn't return the security deposit. And they don't know what to do. They just move on. And then they keep living all these 2,000, 3,000 here and there, and it adds up.
Yes.
Right. But they don't know that it is their right to get that money back. If the landlord has to keep it, the landlord has to let them know within 30 days of moving out in writing what they're doing with the money. Once the 30 days goes by, landlord must return the money. And if you go to court, you get that money, double that money plus your attorney fees and your expenses. So it doesn't even cost you anything out of pocket.
Wow.
Right, so stuff like that. Sometimes landlords represented recently a few of our people that own houses. Since the pandemic, tenants are no longer paying rent, and they don't know what to do, So those are things that sometimes people come to me and I'll tell them what to go and do, that it's easy. Guide the person so they don't even have to pay me. Because if you're not collecting rent, you might not really have money to hire a lawyer.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I can tell you what to do, and you go do it, and then retrieve. So those are things that services I provide, which I'll be happy to talk to people. I give people, like first half hour consultation free, yeah. And then after that, if you need more, depending on what it is, it might be free. I might charge you a fee. And then a lot of what I do, it's a contingency.
What does it entail?
Yeah, so for instance, if you're involved in an accident and I'm representing you, you don't pay me. If I get money for you, then I get 1/3 of what I got for you. If I didn't get any money, you don't pay me. Okay. So you don't need to worry about paying me upfront. And then all the expenses, I bear the expense. Okay. And then when we get money, then I get the expenses back.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this hangout. I appreciate this hangout. But from what I'm seeing, we might have this hangout again.
You're welcome.
We might have this hangout again.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you so
much. And keep up the good work.
Thank you so much.
Are you a business owner, an entrepreneur, an entertainer, or a professional that have a story to tell, or a product or service that you want to put out there for the world to see? Let's set up an exclusive interview between you and I. All I want you to do is to shoot me an email on info@okanes.com. Let's project your brand, and you'll be glad you did. Thank you.